It's been 8 long years and I still think Max Payne 3 is one of the best third-person shooter ever made. I played this game like 4 to 5 years ago, and as a teenager I didn't really understand too much or didn't really care that much about the game details or the story. I just wanted to play the sequel of Max Payne 2. To be honest, if you end up playing the whole Max Payne series right now, that would probably be the best idea if you haven't played any Max Payne game. You'll really understand how the game started and Max's story and the emotional state he is in Max Payne 3. Anyways, this video is about if you should still buy and play Max Payne 3 in 2021, and I'm gonna go in details about it. First impression, this game doesn't feel like a 2012's game. It had so much details and visuals that almost made it feel like a part of GTA 5 which came after 1 year. I mean, this type of shooting style, the movement animation and this blood and gore effect can also be seen in GTA 5. The story is nothing too significant. It does a good job of showing a story of a depressed, drunk, alcoholic Max Payne who takes a job of security in a super wealthy family. The family members keeps getting kidnapped by a faction and someone in the family do some ugly horrific shit under the nose, and Max Payne just goes with the flow of unfucking the situation most of the time. Like the pacing of this game, story starts with some water gun incidents to some really fucked up shit show at the end, and I really like the plot progression. But as I said, it's nothing like a masterpiece or something that will literally blow you away, make your dick hard or anything like that. It's just a casual story with some twists that has a happy ending anyway. Max Payne's theme is dark and sad, where the family he protects along with a friend are like some clowns who just get spoiled, drunk in the parties and eventually gets kidnapped. There's also a lot of Portuguese dialogues which makes Max a fish out of the water as he doesn't understand that much. Also I didn't understand most of the Portuguese language in this and had to use a friend as an interpreter. It was like some Portuguese learning class for me. Anyways, I think it's time to move on to the gameplay part. The game has this bullet time mechanic that makes the time slow and lets you shoot precise headshots, and that's pretty much 95% of the gameplay. And it's fun. You also can shoot dodge, which is just Max diving in a direction in slow-mo and makes him look more badass when he kills someone. One thing I've noticed is you'd wanna hit headshots more often because of not just it is super satisfying, but because of the bullet time. You'll constantly want to switch to bullet time and hit headshots in this game that you will lost count of how many headshots you hit. It's indeed satisfying and the animation quality is pretty gore in general. At some point it feels like you're some omnipotent god who can slow down time and basically slaughter everyone flawlessly. You get painkillers to heal yourself that you'll get from time to time, and here's a suggestion. Play the game on hard difficulty, it's better that way. Like, you are one-shotting thugs when the time is slowed down anyway, so why not just make the game a little bit more challenging. Also, don't think that this game lets you go off too easily. Everything depends on your action. You can get headshotted by the enemies too and instantly die from it. The level designs are really linear, and I have one complaint about the design, and that is it limits your shoot dodging capabilities because of a lot of narrow spaces and corridor type of levels. Because these precise animations along with Rockstar's insane immersions doesn't really fit well together. Max can also roll to avoid getting hit, but in my experience I didn't really use it that much because I was busy with the headshots. The dual wielding in this game is really cool, as you can not only dual wield the same weapon but also two different weapons. But dual wielding makes you drop your two-handed weapon to keep the immersion neat and clean. It wasn't really necessary because in Max Payne 2 you could carry dozens of weapons without sacrificing anything, but in Max Payne 3 Rockstar focused more on the immersion, so they had to handle things like this, which I also don't blame either. I do still believe that playability goes above immersions in video games. Narratives and soundtracks in Max Payne 3 have been laid out amazingly. Max mostly talks in past terms as if you're experiencing his deteriorated memory through his dialogues and the game's beautiful uses of transitions. Then there's soundtracks which just totally goes well with this gloomy dark vibe of Max Payne or when there's a lot of action going on.
Here I was again, halfway down the world, and still looking at the bodies of women I was supposed to protect.
Every level also has different golden parts of weapons that remains in some unusual places, and finding all parts of a gun makes that specific gun golden and also increases weapon stats like damage and ammo capacity. I think Rockstar sometimes exaggerated the part where you go into the scripted slow-mo parts and kill everyone, but as it looks so badass and feels awesome to do, you can't really dislike these moments. Max Payne 3 also has a multiplayer mode that consists some game modes, which is also an enjoyable experience. Some contain in-story scenarios in multiplayer that gives you different objectives to complete, while other modes make the player go all out on each other. While the single player is super fun itself, the multiplayer doesn't lack any characteristics, but it doesn't have that much players nowadays, so it can take some time to get matches. Anyways, is Max Payne 3 still worth playing? Well, the game has a good story, great combat, really good soundtracks and narratives, and has a pretty cool multiplayer too. The only downside I think is the linearity of the levels, but that is not a major issue because the game is just so fun to play, even to this day. So Max Payne 3 is definitely still worth playing. That concludes this worth playing video, and as always, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you want more contents like this. See ya.